I'm doing a review on the SKX, the Sci-Fi and the Cymatic. Most people who do these reviews don't own them. They've just basically borrowed them and then go back to their normal board. So I thought it would be a good idea. I have done 3,300 plus waves on the Sci-Fi. This is my second Sci-Fi, and as you can see by the yellowing and the colour of it, it's done a lot of work. And this is the order that I've owned the boards as well. So I started off with this Sci-Fi, then the SKX, then the Cymatic. So I'll start with the Sci-Fi. This is a 510 Sci-Fi. It's about 30 litres of flotation, which for my height, weight and age is a good height, a good combination. The things I find with this board is I suddenly found, after the first day, getting used to the concave, the way it accelerates, the quad, the flyers and so forth, it's a little slightly different feel. And I've had a few people that bought one and said they didn't like it the first week, but after that they love it. So I basically had this board. I find it good for someone who has been out of surfing for a little while and wants to get back into it and wants to improve, because of all the boards I've ever owned, I've improved the most and the fastest on this particular board. And a testament to that is that 4 other people have noticed my improvement and basically bought the Sci-Fi because of it. So that was a good testimony to my improvement. The things I find, this particular combination with the MRs and the small trailer here, is I find that great for small beach breaks, even small point breaks, that you want to generate a bit of speed above and beyond what the board itself can do. So you'll see in the clip that I'm doing a cutback that's on a slow wave, but you can get it up on its edge quite quick. And then it surprisingly climbs reasonably well, and probably not quite as good as the Cymatic to basically come up and hit the top. But for someone who is wanting to improve, who hasn't been in the water for a while, and it's quite user-friendly. This is the most user-friendly out of the 3 boards, because it has a wide range of waves. It's probably not quite as wide-ranging as the Cymatic. This excels on anything up to 6-7 foot and reasonably smooth. Doesn't matter how steep it is or how powerful it is or how fat it is, it handles it. Doesn't like a lot of surface chop, so it tends to get a bit light in the tail. But most of us aren't surfing 6-foot waves every day. It's usually 3-foot grovelly beach breaks, and this is a great board for that. And now for the SKX. My SKX is 510. This is the board I surf in conjunction with my other boards. It's a point break board, I call it. The advantage I find with this is if it's a windy day, the board has a slightly longer rail through this section here for the chop when you've got that westerly, winter wave, slightly bigger, so I can ride this 6, 7, possibly 8 foot with a little bit of chop on the face and still have the confidence that on those bigger days I run the Mick Fanning in large all the way around. On the small days I might run the small Almeric, and on the medium days I might put the medium Mick Fanning in. What I find this board is good because it flows really nicely to probably match the Mick Fanning fins, I suppose. They tend to just do a nice long Joel Parkinson style feel to the board. We all wish we were as good as him, but that's what it gives you, that feeling, particularly on a point break, and gives you a lot of control. Also, you'll see in the clip that it will handle small point breaks, and I used it because my Sci-Fi was damaged at the time, and I was still surprised on how much speed I generated on a wave that was reasonably weak, and you'll see that the cutback, I still managed to maintain the speed. This hat doesn't have the wing in the back here, but it does have the concave, quad concave, inside concave, and you'll probably see that the board is a little yellow, and that happens with these boards in particular for some reason. Try to keep them out of the sun as much as you can. So this, as I said, this board is for a point break for me, or a steep windy beach break. Okay, we come to our newest version of my boards. You've probably seen Kelly Slater on that video of him in Hawaii. Show you a bit of that because I don't have any footage of me in this, unfortunately. But what I can say is that this is a board, the easiest way to describe it is point and shoot. I find it has the attributes of both the SKX and the Sci-Fi mixed together. It's remarkably smooth in all conditions and has the ability to handle the chop and wind. I don't know how they do it in such a short board to have so much stability. It's not quite as user-friendly as the Sci-Fi, but not a lot from there. It is a little bit looser. It seems to be quicker, but according to the Ripcord watch, it doesn't seem to be. But it has this point and shoot, I call it. You point it where you want to go, it seems to go there. And the other thing is the amount of confidence you get. So many times I think, I'm not going to make this, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. And all of a sudden, that particular situation it becomes easy, and you turn around and think, well, how did I do that? So the board is remarkably maneuverable. What I really like is when you come up, and you'll see in the Slater clip that he comes back and turns back, and on the rail, on the way back, it doesn't slow down. That's the remarkable thing. Yes, these other boards are like that too, but this one seems to almost accelerate in that situation. I've tried it in a quad, and I've tried it in a thruster, and I'm a great fan of Noel Selleck that does the Surf and Show, and he has a great review if you want to have a look at his review of the Cymatic. And he says that was one of his favourite boards of the year, last year I think it was. Other thing with this board is, I had a comment the other day. I was out at a small point break, it's only about this big, and it was a very slow takeoff, but sectioned up, so in this particular point break you have to take off sort of behind the brake so you can get some speed out of it. And a guy commented just how quick he saw me accelerate, and he was quite surprised. And the amount of generation you got when you come out, and you've got all the time in the world to come back, and if you like doing that sort of figure eight sort of situation, this board is probably the perfect board for that. I find the quads tends to, with the little trailer here, or nubster, or whatever you want to call it, I like the Shapers one. It screws in, and I have the Performer carbons in the back and the Mick Fannings in the front. Because I had this board the shortest time, I really haven't had it on a large wave yet. So I've had everything from basically straight-handed grovelers, which our local beach has been having in the spades over the last few months. It's been horrible surf. So I really haven't got any footage I can show you with this. But what I do say, if you have one of these Slater boards already, and you want a board that just performs in anything, this is the outstanding board of the three. The Sci-Fi is probably the board I'd recommend for someone who is going to increase their surfing and they're low intermediate. And this board here would be intermediate to high intermediate, and probably the biggest wave I've had this is 6 foot, but only one or two of them, and I'm just astounded on how comfortable, stable and confidence building the board is. So over all the boards I've own, and we always say this about our new boards, but this board is just so easy to ride in a point and shoot situation, as I call it. As you can see that the board still has turn up, but the nose is basically a performance board, and normally the nose would come out here, and they consider that as total waste as far as having any necessary need for a pointy nose. And I agree, because the swing weight is that you can sort of jam a quick under the lip, you can jam a quick turn. Saw Slater do that at Hawaii, and he took off like a belly boarder, got to the bottom, stood up, did a bottom turn, the wave was about to close out on him, and he suddenly did a quick under the lip, and I think he got 6 or 7 out of just one manoeuvre. So the board is that flexible. So Slater boards, I love them. The downside I find is that they're yellow. And I suppose, like all of these epoxy boards, they just suck in water like crazy. So as soon as you have any sort of damage, be careful and get it done straight away. The other thing I recommend is be very careful taking the fins in and out. I have a fin removal tool, and I suggest you get one when you get one of these, and probably all these epoxy boards, is that you tend to get a little fracture around here. So I've had a couple of repairs and fractures there, and my problem is I'm probably hitting the fins too hard when I'm getting out, so don't get caught in that. I think they're little fin removal tools from the local surf shop, about $22, $4 or something, and that's well worth the expenditure. And on bigger waves, I just generally use the larger fanning fins. So as you can see, all boards have their advantage. Probably this has really replaced the Sci-Fi, the SKX. Well, I haven't surfed it since I've had the Cymatic, but I haven't had the wave conditions to surf it. So I'll find out in time whether this is going to be my one and only I'm going to share. And in a couple of months we're going down to Tullamarine Wave Park, and I'll be taking my Cymatic and my SKX, and hopefully I can do a video of that. I'm going down with 5 mates for 3 days. So stay tuned and I'll give you a video on that. So, thanks.